Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Jay Knows Nothing. Whew. This is a late night reaction here. I'm actually about to go to bed for real. But by the time you see this will be the next day. Um, wow. That Thursday night game, Bengals go down 34-20. It was basically a Baltimore Raven type dominant game. Um, there's not much you could really say. I mean, Burrow went down in the second quarter, and at that moment, it just seemed like everything was just knocked out. Every bit of confidence from the Bengals, it just seemed like it was knocked out at that moment. Um, Even we was at BW3s, I was at BW3s with some friends, and we was just like, oh boy, you know, it's just like you could just feel the whole atmosphere at BW3s just obviously just went down. So and just like how it did for the Bengals tonight. As much as they try to rally around with Jake Browning, it just didn't work. Um, and the Ravens really mixed up their defense as well. I mean, it seemed like they was just going to blitz them, but they were dropping back. They were giving them all kinds of looks that confused them. Um, at first, when they started off the second half, they used Mixon a lot. I think what really got me confused was on their second drive, Mixon wasn't out there at all. It was a 3-and-out, and the backup Travion Williams, was out there. So I was a bit surprised by that. I mean, it seemed like they tried to go just pass, and they were still within striking distance. So the score wasn't out of hand. I think, yeah, the score wasn't out of hand. It was like 21-13. So, but Mixon wasn't out there. I don't know if he might have been bothered with an injury or something, but I mean, he did come back in the game the following drive. But yeah, I mean, it was, the game started off very weird. Mark Andrews, he was out with injury. He got injured on a Logan Wilson tackle. Uh, and then, the first half, it kind of felt like the Bengals were facing the Ravens and the refs. I don't want to make it seem like that. Hey, the reason why the refs were contributed a reason for the Bengals losing, not at all, because as you can see by the score, it just wasn't that. But in the first half, it felt that way. In the first quarter, Trey Hendrickson, he was coming around, and he was obviously blatantly held. I mean, literally held around the neck, and there was no call on the first Ravens possession. And then when they scored before the half ended, there was a couple of questionable pass interference call. I was definitely the one on DJ Turner when he was defending Zay Flowers. That was definitely a questionable call. Um, Matter of fact, he didn't even touch him for real. I mean, if anything, I mean, they were both going after the ball. The ball was overthrown, and I don't know. I don't know if because the way Zay Flowers Zay Flowers jumped or something like that, or the fact that DJ Turner was a little bit off balance and made it seem like it was a foul. It just it wasn't worth being called a pass interference. But a couple of those calls, I think the one call before on the Woozier, I mean, he was tugging at his jersey, so I can understand why that was called, even though the TV analyst, Kirk Herbstreit, he was like that was kind of questionable, but I can understand why that was called though. So, but in any event, the Bengals, in the first half they did pretty well in run defense. The problem was they couldn't stop their pass. They could not stop the crossing routes. The crossing Beckham was killing them on the crossing routes. Zay Flowers killing them, and also Nelson Aguilar, which the one it was just a freak play. Jermaine Pratt, he tipped the ball, and the ball went directly into Aguilar's hands when he was running a crossing route right across the middle of the field and just ran the rest of the way for a touchdown. So, I mean, the secondary, this is 2 games in a row that the secondary has been torched. I mean, torched pretty bad. Against the Texans, it was like whatever the zones that they were, the zone defenses that they were playing. The Texans were just going downfield and finding holes in their defense, and also having time to throw. The defense, the D line just couldn't get to C.J. Stroud the last game, and they really couldn't get to Lamar Jackson this game. So, and I know it's hard to go, it's hard to bring down Lamar Jackson because he's so mobile, and then also with the weapons that he has too, to quickly get the ball out, and he's always a threat to run with it as well. But the secondary they've been tested, and man, they have been torched these past couple of games. Cam Taylor-Britt, he went down in the second. Was it the first half? I can't remember, but he was out for the game with a left quad injury, so that hindered the secondary a little bit. Turner had to start in his place, Wouzier and Mike Hilton. But yeah, it was just bad. And then the second half, I mean, once the Ravens had control of the game, they just started to run the ball effectively. The Bengals, run defense, the way it's been playing this year, really showed up. Which basically means it didn't show up. Just couldn't control the line of scrimmage, and the Ravens were able to pop off like about additional 120 rushing yards in the second half, basically to close out the game. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tough loss for the Bengals. It was definitely a much needed game for them because now the Bengals are 1-5 against AFC division teams, and now, and also with Burrow going down, and we don't know the extent of his injury yet. Could be a sprained wrist, so we'll see. He may be out for a couple of weeks. We'll see. I mean, we'll know more in a few days and the diagnosis and everything. So, that's definitely tough if he's gonna have to miss a few games. Because the next game is against Pittsburgh. Then the following week is Jacksonville. Those are 2 tough games, and with the Bengals now at 5-5, making the playoffs is going to be pretty hard. It's definitely going to be a hard road for them to get in. Being 1-5 in the AFC conference, and especially the division games. Now they're 0-3. Baltimore has swept the series. They won in week 2, and now this current game. And at this point, the best that they can do is to try to win their next 3 division, at least in-house division games against Pittsburgh. They have 2 games against Pittsburgh that they need to play in Cleveland, so they need to win those games to try to have some type of playoff life for the time being. So, yeah, these upcoming games is going to be very crucial. I mean, this was a crucial game that they needed, and unfortunately, they weren't able to pull it out. Baltimore dominated them. Burrow went down, and it's definitely going to be a bigger uphill climb. I mean, it definitely sucks for Burrow because he's endured a lot of punishment. I think a lot of it has to do with, obviously offensive line play. Some of it is on him not getting the ball out, although he's had although he has gotten the ball out quickly, more times than not, with the quick passing game. But after a while, you can only go so far with that because defenses key in on that and start to play a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage, knowing that you're not much of a threat deep. So, but yeah, I mean, I apologize. Apologize for my just thinking here at the last minute. And if I sound repetitive a few times, that's my bad. I'm just trying to do this all in one take. But yeah, I mean, this is tough. It's definitely a tough loss. Like I said, we'll see what happens with the diagnosis of Burrow's injury. And as a Bengal fan, it's rough. It is rough. But we'll see what happens. Obviously Jake Browning will be getting first team reps, and we'll just see what happens. Hopefully, they're able to bounce back against Pittsburgh. The defense really knows that they're gonna have to really step up, and we really need some pass rush up the middle in the secondary, and the secondary is young. We had Jordan Battle back there in safety, starting, and DJ Turner got a lot of run tonight during the game. So it's the secondary is getting challenged, and it's been getting beat these past couple of weeks. And just as Mike Hilton said, if they continue to play the way they did against Houston, they're definitely not going to win against Baltimore, and it definitely showed. It definitely showed. So we'll see what happens. I appreciate you all for tuning in. The Jay Knows Nothing. I'm recording here right after the game, late night. Appreciate you all for tuning in. If you have any comments, go ahead and put some comments down below. Appreciate you. Peace.